So Sydney Sweeney's movie Christie ended up flopping, and that's not really surprising to me because she built up a fan base of right-wing incel losers. And I don't know why she thought that picking up a movie about a lesbian boxer that is going through domestic violence with a man would work out and be successful with her fan base.
I can't wait for everyone to finally see Chris and Martin together on screen. There's already so much Oscar buzz floating around. Are you hyped to see what's coming? Because this one's got people talking nonstop. But honestly, I'm thrilled for Christy. Sydney's story kicks off with one burning question. What's her real end game here? Everyone's been whispering since that strange bathwater turned soap drop. Yeah, that wild promo that had people saying she just grabbed the bag and kept it moving. But lately, her moves are looking way too strategic to be just about money. It's like she's rewriting her own story from scratch, crafting a new version of herself piece by piece. You can tell she's not just rebranding, and she's reinventing. It feels like she's swapping her old fan base for a totally different crowd, stepping into a fresh lane with confidence and control. Before we keep going, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second and helps the channel grow big time. Now, let's get right back into it. So here's the switch up. Her original audience leaned more liberal, mainly because of Euphoria. But the people she's aiming for now, way different. Think older, more conservative, and mostly men. And that shift is impossible to miss. She's moving like someone who knows exactly what she's offering and who she's offering it to. Every step she takes screams strategy. When you live in the spotlight, knowing your audience isn't just smart, it's survival.
Oscar buzz coming up, a lot of films coming out. How does it feel, though, that it's an advertisement that gets the most attention these days?
I'm so excited for everybody to see Chris and Martin.
There's a lot of Oscar buzz. Are you excited about everyone seeing this?
I'm just excited for Chris.
Your target audience is the group that's most likely to buy, follow, and support whatever you put out. So you gotta know them inside out. Age, gender, money, lifestyle, even how they vote. Every single detail matters. That's what decides your collabs, your friend circle, and which projects you put your name on. And right now, Sydney's pattern is crystal clear. She's in the middle of a massive image shift, and she's not hiding it one bit. It's all part of a timeline that's finally starting to make sense. Because let's be real, Sydney Sweeney wasn't exactly a household name before Euphoria. Sure, she had a few roles here and there, but that show, that's what catapulted her into the mainstream spotlight. And she hasn't looked back since. That's where her real fan base came alive. Euphoria was the spark that built her following, a show packed with progressive, inclusive energy and modern, issue-driven stories that grabbed attention fast. Some people even called it woke, depending on who you asked. Most of Sydney's true supporters were young women, social media savvy, trend-aware, and totally vibing with her character and style. Sure, there were some guys who followed her just because they thought she looked good, but let's be real. They weren't the main crowd. They were the extras in the audience, not the fans keeping her brand alive. The big campaigns she landed, beauty, fashion, skincare, wellness, all screamed one thing. They were designed for women. Every ad, every shoot, every collab pointed to that core audience. Her crowd was made up of progressive women who lived and breathed the Euphoria aesthetic. So when Sydney started taking on projects that didn't fit that image, her fans noticed fast. The shift started with that Dr. Squatch commercial, which had everyone scratching their heads. It felt random, oddly targeted, and totally off-brand for her usual vibe. Then boom, the American Eagle ad dropped and it went viral for all the wrong reasons. It added even more confusion about what Sydney was really trying to project. And just when the noise started to calm down, things exploded again when she got open praise from big political names. That's when fans started side-eyeing everything she did. Not long after, the internet uncovered that she was registered as a Republican. And that revelation hit like a storm. Fans who once felt connected to her started to pull back, wondering if they ever really knew who they were cheering for. The comment sections lit up with reactions, shock, disappointment, and a lot of confusion. Then came the whispers about her family, people online claiming they backed that whole red hat crowd. None of this was happening in isolation. Every piece of gossip added fuel to how fans viewed her next steps. And everyone knows the truth about being a public figure. It's a performance. Whether you're chasing fame, influence, or just trying to sell something, you're putting on a version of yourself that looks polished, perfect, and market ready. It's the show behind the spotlight. But here's the thing, it's not just about attention anymore. It's about getting people to give you their time, their clicks, their loyalty, and most importantly, their money. Every celebrity plays that game, and Sydney's no different. She knows the formula, but lately, the way she's been playing it, it's got people wondering what her real strategy is. Now let's slide into that American Eagle situation, because this is where things got serious. Forget the personal opinions for a second. Whether you thought the ad was cute, cringe, or confusing doesn't even matter. From a business point of view, the one thing that counts is impact, and that campaign totally missed the target. It didn't hit with her core audience, the fans who used to ride for her, and it didn't pull in new ones either. The ad flopped on both ends. Sydney put her face, her name, and her entire image on the line, and the reaction made it crystal clear. Most of her supporters weren't feeling it one bit, and people outside her usual fan base, they didn't care either. So, when we talk public image, branding, or PR strategy, that move came off messy, like she didn't have a clear vision anymore. It made her seem disconnected from her own audience. And that's dangerous for anyone living in the spotlight. Usually the smart next step would be to say something, even just a short statement, to calm the storm and keep fans close. But Sydney didn't do that. She had plenty of time to clear the air, even just a little, but instead she stayed silent until her GQ interview dropped. And when the topic came up, she brushed it off like it was nothing, saying she was just doing a jeans commercial. That's it. No deeper explanation, no real response, no moment of reflection for her fans. That short answer sent shockwaves online. People read it like she was saying, "Stop expecting me to care about this." The vibe was icy and intentional. Whether she meant to or not, Sydney made it clear that she doesn't move on the internet's schedule. She'll speak when she wants, not when the crowd demands it. And honestly, that might be the boldest, most unapologetic move she's made yet. Because while some saw it as careless, others saw it as power. A woman in charge of her own narrative, even if it means losing a few fans along the way. At least now, everyone knows exactly where Sydney stands. If people don't vibe with her choices, her politics, or the way she carries herself, they can decide for themselves whether to keep supporting her or not. She could have easily faked an apology just to calm the internet down or thrown out a quick sorry to keep fans happy, but she didn't. Instead, she stayed real and kept it straightforward. That's bold. And it shows she's being intentional, not performative. This isn't about damage control anymore. It's about control. Period. Sydney's clearly steering her image instead of letting social media do it for her. And her career moves, they back it up in a major way. Right now, she's seriously connected. She's reportedly dating Scooter Braun, been spotted hanging around billionaire circles like Jeff Bezos, and she's locking down lead roles in huge films back to back. She's not hustling for scraps. She's in the rooms where decisions get made. She's surrounded by people who have real power, people who can change her career path with a single call. And that kind of access screams one thing loud and clear. She's pivoting. She's no longer trying to fit into the image her old fan base had of her. She's breaking free from it, building a version of herself that fits a whole new crowd, one that's older, more conservative, and way more male-dominated. It's like she's closing the Euphoria chapter, the liberal, largely female fan base, and opening a new one that fits the kind of projects and partnerships she's stepping into now. And make no mistake, she's not stumbling through this rebrand. She's crafting it with precision. Every move feels calculated. Every connection feels deliberate. And that brings everything full circle to the biggest question of all. What's Sydney Sweeney really aiming for? If her goal is to win over a more conservative, male-leaning audience, then the roles she takes from this point on are going to matter more than ever. Her choices won't just define her career. They'll define her entire public identity. Her filmography isn't just entertainment anymore. It's strategy. Look back at her early work. Especially Euphoria. She played a character who was constantly underdressed and filmed in a way that spotlighted her looks. Sure, that caught the attention of tons of male viewers who found her appealing, but that kind of admiration is a double-edged sword. Because once people box you in as that type of actress, it's hard to convince them you're anything else. Those kinds of fans only want her in one lane, the pretty girl box, nothing more. They don't care about her range, her talent, or her growth as an actress. They just want her frozen in that same image. Perfect face, perfect body, no risks, no depth, and that's the trap. Because once an actress gets boxed into that look good and stay quiet category, the industry starts the countdown clock. The second she doesn't fit that same level of visual appeal anymore, Hollywood moves on without hesitation. That kind of lane has an expiration date, and it's not a kind one. Sure, those roles work right now, but they don't build legacy or long-term power. They just create temporary hype that fades the moment the next it girl steps in. And Sydney's smart enough to see that. That's why this whole pivot she's pulling isn't just about audience. It's about survival in an industry that treats beauty like currency. But there's another layer. When your looks become your main selling point, it turns into a full-time performance. Sydney's expected to look flawless every single time she steps out. On camera, at premieres, even walking to her car. Every angle has to hit. No off days, no bloating, no bad lighting, no visible aging, nothing that reminds people she's human. The moment she steps outside the beauty standards she's built her brand on, that new audience she's courting could flip on her instantly. If the public ever decides she's not as attractive because of normal life changes, weight, age, style, they won't give her grace. They'll just move on to the next face like she was never there. That's the dark side of building a fan base around surface-level appeal. It's fragile. One small shift and the support evaporates. And for someone like Sydney, trying to pivot toward a crowd that values looks and aesthetics above everything else, that's a high-stakes gamble. Because once you give people a reason to see you as anything less than perfect, they stop defending you fast. There's no loyalty, no empathy, no patience. When someone's whole image is built on appearance, everything becomes risky. The support only lasts as long as the illusion does. Back in 2022, Sydney hopped on Instagram Live, emotional, teary-eyed, and overwhelmed, opening up about how much it hurt to see people online calling her ugly. That moment hit hard. She wasn't unattractive then, and she's definitely not unattractive now, but those comments cut deep anyway. She's human, and watching people tear her down like that hit her in a way fame can't protect anyone from. Now imagine how heavy that pressure gets if she leans even harder into trying to please a male audience that mainly values her looks. That's a dangerous foundation to stand on. It means she'd be stuck constantly performing for approval, trapped in a cycle where she's expected to stay perfect, flawless, and untouched by time. That kind of pressure can crush even the strongest mindset. Because let's be real, being seen as attractive has a time limit in Hollywood. Not because someone stops being beautiful, but because the public always moves on to the next new face. It's not if the shift happens, it's when. The attention never lasts forever, and the moment the crowd gets bored, they're gone. That's the ugly side of fame that nobody likes to admit. Now, when you look at her recent project choices, things get even more interesting. Anyone But You grabbed tons of attention, but that movie wasn't made for a conservative male audience. It was a rom-com that hit hard with women, and women are the ones who showed up and made it a success. That fan base carried the film across the finish line, not the new demographic she's rumored to be chasing. Then came Immaculate, a dark, intense horror film packed with themes about control, religion, and power. It dives into a woman's struggle against a system trying to dominate her body and decisions. And the message is crystal clear. What her character goes through is wrong, disturbing, and deeply unjust. It's a heavy story that doesn't hold back. From a conservative viewpoint, that kind of symbolism definitely challenges certain traditional beliefs. The movie flips the script. It's not about submission or acceptance. It's about rebellion and reclaiming power. And when the story reaches its final moments, Sydney's character makes a bold, symbolic move. She rejects everything forced on her in one dramatic act of defiance. It's not just survival. It's a refusal to be controlled or used by anyone. That role shows a completely different side of Sydney, one that isn't about being pretty for the camera, but about taking charge and making people think. It's powerful, unsettling, and it proves she's still willing to push boundaries, no matter what kind of audience she's trying to reach. Even without any graphic scenes, the message in Immaculate was loud and clear, impossible to ignore. And let's be honest, it didn't line up with conservative values at all. The themes hit harder for women, progressives, and horror fans, people who value independence, not submission. So when you look at the stories she's been choosing lately, they don't actually fit the image she seems to be shifting toward. Her recent films connect more with viewers who champion autonomy, not the conservative, male-centered audience she's rumored to be courting. But okay, let's hit pause and look at this from another angle. Some people argue that maybe those films were chosen before her big American Eagle moment, before her supposed rebrand even started. Maybe she wasn't being intentional with her choices back then. Maybe she was just taking what came her way. That logic would make sense if her next move didn't completely flip that theory on its head. Because then, boom, Sydney signs on for Christie, and that's where everything takes a wild turn. The film follows a lesbian woman stuck in a toxic marriage, and the story doesn't fix her by making her straight or wrapping things up in a conservative, friendly bow. Nope, the character stays true to herself from beginning to end, and her identity is treated with respect and seriousness, not like a gimmick or a phase. That alone pushes the movie far outside the comfort zone of the audience she's supposedly chasing. It's bold, it's layered, and it's not the kind of storyline that conservative male viewers typically embrace. And here's the kicker. Sydney doesn't even play into her usual glam style in this one. She's not the glossy, perfectly styled version fans are used to seeing. In Christie, she shows up raw, more muscular, rougher around the edges, her hair undone, her body visibly different, and her overall look intentionally aged up for the role. That's a huge shift from the image she's been known for, the soft, picture-perfect Hollywood beauty look. Instead, she's showing range, grit, and real transformation. It's the kind of move that completely throws off anyone trying to box her into one demographic. Because if she were truly chasing a conservative male crowd, this is not the film they'd rally behind. This is the type of project that challenges comfort zones and pushes boundaries, and Sydney took it head on. Meanwhile, she stayed totally silent about the noise that came from her American Eagle ad. No statements, no explanations, nothing. She didn't say a word during the backlash. She didn't address it after things cooled down, and even when GQ brought it up, she sidestepped it completely. On the surface, it totally looks like Sydney doesn't care, like she's brushing everything off without even flinching. But behind the scenes, the story sounds very different. Reports have popped up claiming her management team's been reaching out to reviewers who gave Christie negative write-ups, allegedly asking them to tone things down or even rewrite their reviews completely. That's not the move of a team that's unbothered. That little detail says a lot. It proves the team does care, especially about how her projects are being received. They know public reaction shapes perception, and perception drives money, awards, and influence. So now the question hits even harder. What exactly did Sydney expect to happen? Did she really think she could shake up her entire image, distance herself from her original audience, and still get the same level of support? It's wild to think about. Did she honestly believe her old fans would still line up to watch her films after feeling pushed aside? Or did she convince herself that her new direction was strong enough to build an entirely new fan base overnight? Because right now, the numbers don't lie. Her movies have been dropping harder than anyone predicted, and that speaks louder than any PR spin ever could. Yes, fewer people are going to theaters in general these days, but that doesn't change the fact that some of her former fans are deliberately choosing not to support her anymore. They're not angry in comment sections. They're silent in ticket sales. And that kind of silence hits way harder than online criticism ever will. It's the ultimate statement in today's world. I'm not spending my money on this. Many fans say they feel ignored. Like Sydney's been quiet about situations where they wanted honesty or clarity. So now they're matching her silence with their own, choosing to step back. And that's showing up in real numbers. It's not personal, it's perception. And that's the dangerous space every celebrity walks when their brand starts to blur. Right now, Hollywood's heating up. Award season buzz, major releases, and constant competition. Every move counts, and Sydney's standing right at a crossroads. The decisions she makes next could either rebuild the audience she lost or push her even further into isolation from the people who once helped her rise. So here's where we leave it. What do you think is really happening with Sydney's rebrand? Is this a genius long play that'll pay off later, or is she setting herself up for an even bigger fallout? Has she built a stronger foundation or burned the bridge that made her career in the first place? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear every take. Do you think this rebrand is going to work, or has she gone too far? Let's keep the conversation rolling. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this deep dive. It helps the channel grow and keeps these breakdowns coming. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.